Be sure of this, our reading says, if the master of the house had known the hour when the thief was coming, he would not have let his house be broken into. You also must be prepared, for at an hour you do not expect, the Son of Man will come. Jesus teaches his disciples to be ready for our encounter with him at the moment of death and to be ready for his second coming. Yesterday, in our scriptures, we listened to Jesus compare his disciples to servants waiting for the master's return from a marriage feast. The servants who are vigilant and welcome the master are seated at table and served by the master when he returns. When Jesus knocks at the door, we must open the door for him. Now, Jesus never tells us to be afraid of his coming, for he comes to save us. But he does insist that we be watchful, not to be caught unawares or unprepared. I must do that by living the present moment as fully as I can, trying to be aware as I can of the presence of God at every moment in my life. There is a religious sister here in Boston, a daughter of St. Paul, that has made a somewhat popular again, a devotion called Memento Mori, meaning remember your death. She has kept a skull on her desk for over a year. That might appear to some to be gruesome, but Memento Mori was a Christian practice popular in medieval times. Remembering one's death in order to live well is an ancient tradition that stretches back for millennia to before the coming of Christ. The Hebrew scriptures are full of reminders to remember one's mortality and to keep the end of life in mind. The book of Sirach urges, in whatever you do, remember your last days, and you will never sin. The rule of Saint Benedict, written for monks in the 6th century, includes the imperative to keep death daily before one's eyes. The practice can be absolutely valuable. For us, death is illuminated by the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus. Remembering death is more about remembering that Christ has saved us from the death of sin. There's a place in Rome where the devotion Memento Mori is given particular focus and importance. The Capuchin Church of St. Mary of the Immaculate Conception on the road, the Via Veneto, is affectionately known as the Bone Church. Inside, there is an amazingly designed and arranged display made completely out of the bones of 3,700, they believe to be 3,700 Capuchin Franciscan friars. While it may strike us and modern sensitivities as somewhat morbid, like today's gospel, it teaches us an important lesson. All those bones look alike. Unless you are a forensic expert, you cannot tell who was fat or thin, smart or dull, handsome or homely. Death is the great leveler. Earthly advantages dissolve. Material goods stay in this world. We go to the Lord to render an account of our lives. As the little sign on the wall of the Capuchin Osarium says, what you are now, we once were. What we are now, you shall be. I happen to like this sign. I also happen to like this devotion that this daughter of St. Paul is reigniting. The practice of remembering that you will die helps you to keep in mind that our lives do come to an end and that it has a goal, heaven, where we are given the offering of eternal life with Jesus Christ.